Hello everyone, this is Erik, the Asian movie enthusiast, and this is my review of The Spy Gone North, a South Korean dramatic thriller from 2018 that was directed by Jung-bin Yoon, who previously gave us Kundo, Age of the Rampant, and Nameless Gangster. Now the story begins in the mid-1990s. A former military officer, played by Jung-min Hwang, is recruited as a spy by South Korea's National Intelligence Service, the NIS, and given the codename Black Venus. He's then sent to infiltrate a group of high-ranking North Korean officials who are based in Beijing, China, with the ultimate goal of acquiring information on the North's nuclear program. So The Spy Gone North is not a movie that kind of wins you over with its premise, right? The plot synopsis is very generic, and we've seen spy movies a million times over by now, especially ones that deal with nuclear weapons. Well, I'm very happy to say, actually, that this movie is not as generic as it seems to be on its surface. First of all, there's actually very little focus on the nuclear weapon angle. It's not like the protagonist is going to walk up to these dudes and be like, hey, can I see those nuclear weapon sites that you have? You know what I mean? He's a spy. So much of the story actually focuses on his attempt to earn their trust through certain business ventures, which is a little bit different and actually quite interesting. Also, there may be some political pressures and ulterior motives by certain superiors along the way as well, and all this kind of creates a nicely complex and interesting situation to follow. Another thing that this movie does really well is that it shows how our protagonist must constantly walk on eggshells and be smart, and how he earns the respect of these North Korean officials. And that process is portrayed in a very deliberate manner that is actually pretty convincing, I think. It's not like there's one big moment in the movie where he gets lucky and succeeds in infiltrating these guys, The dude has to work to get in. And when all is said and done, you do get the impression that he's doing enough to kind of inch forward towards his goal. And I think that was important for this movie in order for it to be successful. Because if the whole infiltration thing was just kind of slapped together and brief and not that convincing, it would have been bad, right? It would have been bad. And another big positive is that The Spy Gone North has relationships between the protagonist and a few of the North Korean officials that are developed very well. Very well. This really comes through during the second half of the film, which has some surprisingly effective dramatic moments to it. This movie definitely has a heart to it, and you could tell that the filmmakers approach the character development and the relationships with care. Another example of this is that there is no forced love interest. I was kind of worried about that, that they'd bring in some type of model actress and she'd be like the love interest, and it would just distract from what was going on. And that could have been a major problem, an unnecessary distraction from the main plot. But the scriptwriters did not fall into that trap at all. They didn't. They were very focused on, the characters that are part of the main plot and the dialogue, which turned out pretty great, I think. Jung-min Hwang is fantastic in the lead role, no surprise. The supporting cast is pretty loaded as well, especially with actors that keep, elevating their status in the industry over the past handful of years. You have Sung-min Lee, Jin-hoon Ju, and Jin-woong Cho, all on their A game in this. There's almost no point in going into details regarding the direction and the music, because they're best summed up by simply saying that they're very good. Although I would like to point out that the music accentuated every scene without being overpowering or distracting, which was key as well. One thing to note, though, there are no action scenes in this movie, and there's no chase scenes in this movie. This is more of a slow burn dramatic tension, but I think it does a really good job of holding your interest throughout. So overall, I definitely recommend The Spy Gone North if you want to keep up with newer Korean movies that are good, because this is a very high quality film that I think you should definitely check out. It's currently available on Amazon Streaming in the United States, and as always, I'll see you next time.